B&S Car Dealers is one of the few questions that you have that is about the specific identification method of inventory valuation. So out of that perspective, it is quite important to have a look how we do the specific identification method. B&S Dealers is a sole proprietor and has been a business for the last 5 years and trade in buying and selling second-hand vehicles to and from a variety of individuals and businesses. B&S has grown from strength to strength during 2016 and had no choice than to register for value-added tax. B&S was a registered VAT vendor as from 1 September 2016, assuming a VAT rate of 14% on all applicable transactions. Now we are on 28 February 2018. Guys, please have a look at this date of registration, because if we are talking property, plant and equipment, and we have purchased it before 1 September 2016, the VAT will have been included in the cost price. So it's very important that you also take note of the date of VAT registration, because it may have an impact on your question. In this question, though, it didn't have any impact. B&S adopted a policy to account for discounts on the same day that the transaction can be recognized in the accounting records. Should the discount not materialize, an adjustment will be made to the accounting records. For purposes of calculating a selling price or determine inventory values at year end, B&S applies the specific identification method. B&S does not apply a fixed markup percentage to each transaction, but only determine the profit percentage at the conclusion of each individual sales transaction. On 28 February 2018, the following pre-adjustment trial balances were available as per the general ledger account. Okay, sales, cost of sales, inventory, VAT control account, credit balance, debtors control, allowance for settlement, discount, debtors, stationery expense, stationery in hand, 1 March 2017, beginning of the year. Insurance paid in advance, 1 March 2017. Admin expenses, repairs and maintenance, telephone expenses, and electricity expense. During February 2018, the following transactions took place which still must be accounted for. Now let's just have a look what we must do. They want from us to prepare the statement of profit or loss of B&S Car Dealers for the year ended 28 February 2018. You only need to complete the statement up to the gross profit, so sales less cost of sales and gross profit. Prepare the following notes, and the notes that we have to do is the inventory note and the trade and other receivable note. And that's all that the question wants from us. Great. During February, the following transactions: 2 second-hand Ford Rangers 3.2 double cab delivery vehicles were sold to KMPG accounting firm. B&S offered a trade discount of 5% as KMPG agreed to buy both vehicles. B&S also offered KMPG a settlement discount of the contract of 6.5%. Should the account be settled before the 14th of April, it is expected that the discount will be utilized, so allowance for settlement discount. Details of the 2 ranges are as follows. Number 1, the Ford Ranger 1. New vehicle purchased from a registered VAT vendor at a cash price of $324,900. This transaction was recorded on 9 September 2017. Good. Now there's a few things that we need to figure out of this thing. The first thing that we want to know is exactly what was the cost price of the vehicle. So the cost price of the vehicle would have been the $324,900 divided by 1.14 to get to the VAT exclusive price, which equals 285,000 Rand. Right, so that was the cost. Let's put it here. Cost. Great. There's nothing else there. That was the cost price of the goods. Now let's go to the next one first. Ford Ranger 2. Second hand purchased from Ford Krugersdorp, a registered VAT vendor. The floor price inclusive of VAT. The floor price will always be a VAT inclusive price. was 510,720. B&S negotiated with Ford Krugersdorp to settle the amount over a period of 2 months. Ford Krugersdorp agreed and allowed a 2.5% trade discount and a 7.5% settlement discount as per the 2-month settlement agreement. B&S did make payment as per the prescribed period. So the cost price of that specific vehicle, let's work that one out. Let's just do this, add more space. Yes. We want to determine what is the cost price of that specific vehicle. Right, so the first thing is we have to take out the VAT. So 510,720 divided by 1.14 gives us a VAT exclusive price of 448,000. That is the floor price. But we have also received a 2.5% trade discount. So we only paid 97.5% of the floor price after we have subtracted the trade discount. So the invoice price was 436,800. Then, based on the invoice price, we also made use of a settlement discount. So the actual cost price was only 92.5% of the invoice price. And that gives us a total of 404,040, and that equals the cost of this vehicle. Now, in this question, it's quite important that you keep track of costs, you keep track of markups, you keep track of basically everything. So the cost was there. Now, the selling price of the Ford Ranger 1 was determined after a profit margin of 20% on the cost was added. So let's go back to the first one here. So if we want to determine here what is going to be the selling price, does that? Then our selling price would have been 285,000, which is the cost. I'm going to add 20% to the cost to determine our selling price, so multiply by 1.2. And then remember that we are selling this to KMPG and we gave them a 5% trade discount. So therefore, times 95% is going to be equal to 324,900. Now, we didn't only give them a 5% trade discount. We also gave them a total of 6.5% settlement discount. So therefore, selling price would have been 93.5%. Remember, there's no VAT here. 324,900 times 93.5%. And that would have given us a total sales value, VAT exclusive. So what's going to be in our sales account of 303,782. So that is sales. Good. Now, what is going to be debtors then? If that is sales and we have to do debtors and trade and other receivables, and in trade and other receivables, we need the outstanding debtors and we need allowance for settlement discount. So debtors would have been the total value of the invoice, which is 324,900. So 324,900. Oh, yeah. There, the 324,900, which was the original cost with a profit after the trade discount, but exclusive of VAT. So we're going to add the VAT now to that amount, and that is going to be an amount of 370,387. And that would have been the invoice value. And the invoice value equals the outstanding debtors value as at year end. Right. Then, based on that, we can also at year end determine the allowance for settlement discount, because they're only going to settle this on the 14th of April, and we are sitting here at the end of February. So therefore, we would also like to know what is going to be our allowance for settlement discount, because we have to disclose that in our financial statements. Now we have posted 324,900 times 93.5% to our sales account. So basically what we say is, to our settlement discount account, we are going to post the 6.5% of the VAT exclusive sales value of the invoice, and that gives us a total of 21,118. Allowance for settlement discount as at year end, because KMPG has not yet settled the account. Right. Now, if we go here, let's have a look at the Ford Ranger, the second one. We said, well, we have determined that the cost was 404,040. They tell us the selling price of the Ford Ranger 2 was determined by adding a profit margin of 30% on the cost. So we have the cost there. Let's do the cost. It's 404,040 multiplied by 1.3 if I add a profit percentage of 30%. And that is going to be multiplied by 95%, because again, they are going to buy both vehicles, and when they buy both vehicles, we are going to give them a trade discount of 5%. So the invoice value that we're going to issue won't be the cost of 4,040 times 1.3. It will be that times 1.3 times 95%. So the VAT exclusive invoice value would have been 498,989. Now, again, VAT exclusive value. What are we going to take to sales? We're going to take to sales the 498,989, the VAT exclusive invoice value, multiplied by 93.5%. Why? Because this guy is entitled to take a settlement discount of 6.5%. So therefore, we're going to multiply the VAT exclusive value by 93.5% in order to get to the sales value, which is 466,555. And that equals sales. Now, what is going to be our outstanding debtors as at year end? Well, outstanding debtors is going to be our VAT exclusive value, which is the 498,989, and then we're going to add the 14% VAT. That is going to be a total invoice value of 568,848. So what is that going to be? That is going to be our debtors as at year end. Right, and the only other thing that we need is our allowance for settlement discount. And the allowance for settlement discount, let's do the calculation first, is going to be the same as that one, except that we're not going to multiply that by 93.5%, but we're going to multiply that by 6.5%, because that is the value of the settlement discount. So times 6.5%, and that gives us a total value there of 32,434. Allowance for settlement discount. Great. Now we have a lot of information here. So we can actually now add all these little figures that we have with our existing balances here. Remember, I only need sales, I need cost of sales, I need trade and other receivables at year end. Great. Now, if we continue with the question, Mr. Confused, a debtor of B&S who is not registered for VAT owes B&S 114,000 Rand. On 27 February, the legal firm of Mr. Confused informed B&S that this estate will be liquidated and the expected return upon liquidation is estimated to be 15 cents in the rand. Mr. Confused bought from B&S a BM7 series that he wants to a passenger car. Now, what are we going to write off, guys? Are we going to write off 114,000 or are we going to write off only the difference? Well, actually, we're only going to write off the difference. But let's assume, I think there's something wrong here with the dates. Let's assume that we have received the money on 28 February. Where are we? 2016. Oh, 18. What is our year? 2018. So if we have received our money on the 28 February 2018, that would have meant that we're going to write off the full 114,000. Partially the 15 cents in the rand, that's going to come via the bank account, the amount that we're going to receive, and then the 85 cents in the rand, which is going to be the credit losses that we're going to write off. But in total, we are going to write off 114,000 against our debtors control account. Great. The financial manager of B&S approved an electronic transfer on 27 February to the amount of 7524. So on 27 February 2018, amount of 7524, which was to cover the insurance premium for the period 1 March 2018 to 28 February 2019. So the whole premium was actually paid a year in advance. I'm not interested in the income statement in this question. I'm only interested in trade and other receivables. So the amount paid was 7524. If I take out the VAT, it gives me a prepaid amount of 6,600 rand. And obviously, I am very much interested in that. It's 6,600 rand. I'm just going to park it here. I have to get rid of the opening balances, but where are we going to get rid of that? In the income statement. So I'm not worried about the income statement, but I'm definitely worried about the closing balance, prepaid expenses. And that we want to show in our statement of financial position. Now, at year end, on 24 February 2018, we had 2 vehicles on hand. The first one was a delivery vehicle, a Toyota. The cost price of the vehicle, inclusive of VAT, after a trade discount of 4% was taken into account, amounted to 218,880. The expected selling price, exclusive of that, was 285,000. So clearly the whole purpose of this is so that you can do the net realizable value test. So the cost was equal to 218,880 divided by 1.14 because that included that, so 192,000. The net realizable value must always be a VAT exclusive cost. So if I give you the VAT inclusive cost, you must take out the VAT, and that is 285,000. At what value should we show our cost? Specific identification says we have to perform the net realizable value test on each and every asset on hand at year end. Which one is the lower of the two? The cost price is the lower of the two. So therefore, I'm going to show this thing at cost. Let me color it into a different color. 192,000 rand. Good. The passenger vehicle, a Kias. The invoiced VAT exclusive cost price of the vehicle amounted to 230,000 rand. So if we start here, does it go over to this one? Oh, okay. Going to do it here. So the VAT exclusive price, 230,000 rand. Initially, a settlement discount of 3% was negotiated at the time of the purchase, should the settlement took place within 30 days. Unfortunately, B&S experienced cash flow problems and did not manage to settle the amount within the prescribed period. However, they managed to pay in time to qualify for a settlement discount of 2%. The recommended selling price of the vehicle exclusive of VAT during the 2019 year, so next year, is expected to be so much. So let's just continue this and determine what was the actual cost price of the vehicle. We received a 2% discount, so therefore the actual cost price of the vehicle was 225,400. That was the cost. Now it continues all about the net realizable value. They say in the next year we expect to receive 236,670 exclusive of VAT. It must always be an exclusive of VAT figure for this vehicle, right? But then that's not the end of the story. On 28 February, an urgent notice was sent to all car dealers. The manufacturer of the above-mentioned passenger vehicle informed all car dealers that a manufacturing fault on the airbags was identified on all makes and models of Kias. All Kias had to be taken into the manufacturer for replacement of the airbags. Unfortunately, the Kias on hand already ran out of its warranty, and B&S will have to pay 18,900 Rand exclusive of that for the service. The estimated impact of this recall is an 8% drop in the recommended selling price of the vehicles. So there are two things. Initially, before they discovered this fault, the net realizable value, the estimated selling price, the recommended selling price was equal to 236,700. After they discovered this fault, there was an 8% drop in it. So the 236,670 is no longer a valid figure. I have to drop it first in price with the 8% in order to derive at the new recommended selling price. Then everybody knows if cars are being called in for some kind of mistake, it's a public announcement and everybody knows that. So any person who comes into the second-hand car dealership who wants to buy this vehicle is definitely going to inquire whether this problem has been fixed. And if you haven't fixed it, it's going to go to the next car dealer and is going to buy the car there where the problem has been fixed. So B&S Car Dealers doesn't have a choice. They will have to pay that 18,900 Rand as a compulsory cost in order to make the sales transaction happen. So the net realizable value of this vehicle equals 198,836. Now, which one is now the lower one of the two? The cost or the net realizable value? And clearly it is the net realizable value. So what do we have to do? We have to write down our inventory value from 225,400 to my net realizable value of 198,836. So that is going to have an adjustment entry associated with that of 26,654. So what is going to be our accounting entry? We're going to debit cost of sales and we're going to credit our inventory. Right. So inventory is going to be shown not at the cost, but inventory is going to be shown at the net realizable value of 198,836. There was no stationery on hand at the end of the year. So let's quickly go and complete this whole question because we have all the information that we need. B&S Car Dealers Statement of Profit and Loss for the year ended 28 February 2018, 2018 Rand. Sales, the original figure that we had here of 112,3700. Then plus the 303,782. Plus, here, the sales figure there, 466,555. That gives us a total of 189,437. Cost of sales. That would have been the amount that we started off with, 627,600. And now our first cost of sales here was 285,000, the actual cost of the vehicle, plus the other actual cost of the vehicle, 404040. less the net realizable value adjustment of 26,654. That is an increase of cost of sales. We debited cost of sales. Cost of sales is an expense, so therefore we're going to add it, not subtract it, add it. So that gives us then 1,343,204. Gross profit, the difference between the two. Good. Now our notes, B&S Car Dealers, notes of the financial statements for the year ended 28 February 2018. Inventory. The trading inventory is going to be an amount of, let's just quickly go back here. Our inventory that we're going to show, if we remember when we performed our net realizable value test, is that we decided that for the Toyota vehicle, we're going to show the 192,000 Rand as the value of the vehicle, because that is the lower. And then for the other passenger vehicle, we have said that we should show the net realizable value of that vehicle as the cost price, because that is the lower one of the two. So the 198,836 plus the 192,000 is going to be our total inventory that we're going to disclose here. There it is, and total 390,836. Then IS2 and IS1 says if there was a net realizable value adjustment, I have to mention that, the net realizable value adjustment, I have to mention the amount, 26,654, the difference between the cost and the NRV, was passed during the year, and the reason as a result of faulty airbags and the cost of repairs. Now trade and other receivables, it started off with a 422,900. Less than 114,000 if we assume that we also received that amount of money in the current financial year, plus our trade debtors amounts. Now we've worked out the value of debtors. Here, invoice value debtors 370,387, and here we've worked out our debtors 568,848. Those two together gives us a 939,233. Good, and that in total then 124,8133. I think there's about a R2 rounding difference. Allowance for settlement discount. Now we're going to start off again with the amount that we had in our trial balance, the 24,113, plus the two amounts that we've worked out. Allowance for settlement discount 21,118 and allowance for settlement discount 32,436. Those two together gives me the 53,553, in total then 77,666. It could be R1 or R2 rounding differences as well. So net trade debtors is the difference between the two, and then remember we had prepaid insurance that we added in here somewhere, and we said at year end it's going to be 6,600, and I'm not worried about the income statement now because it's not been required from me. Great, and that is the end of the story.